This year's new moon in Leo is a powerful opening act for the Lionsgate 888 portal. And I do not say that to diminish the power and intensity of this new moon portal, because it is so incredibly beautiful and carries with it its own unique energy frequencies that help to prepare us for the 888 portal 4 days later. In this video, we're going to go over the energies of this new moon and how exactly it plays into the Lionsgate portal. This new moon is occurring at 12 degrees of Leo when the sun and moon come into alignment or conjunction, bringing together the masculine and the feminine, the yin and yang essences of our nature and our consciousness. This is always a big deal. And the new moons in Leo and Cancer are even more powerful because the sun rules Leo and the moon rules Cancer. So they are really moving us through this beautiful continuum of energy here. And as we enter this new moon in Leo gateway of energy, which is open as I'm recording this video, we are calling to us and experiencing a resurgence of the new moon in Cancer energies and another powerful connecting point to that conjunction with the sun and Sirius. Sirius is still visible over the eastern horizon, and we are still being bathed in that energy, at least in the northern hemisphere, as we move through this Lionsgate's portal. And if you want more information on Sirius and the sun and that aspect of the Lionsgate, go ahead and check out the video that I'll link at the end of this one that I just did on that specific event. We are going to talk about the Lionsgate portal a little bit more in this video, but it's going to be different information than the information that I included there. So we have these beautiful energies, this reconnection to the beautiful spiritual opening that we received when the sun came into conjunction with Sirius and the moon during that Cancer new moon. And now we're opening up to those Leo energies. We're expanding that heart center even wider. And this beautiful heart opening that we're experiencing is only amplified by the fact that we have Mercury stationing retrograde during this new moon portal, coming into or getting ready to move into conjunction with Venus in Virgo. This will occur on the 7th, the day before the 888. And this energy is truly a purification and a cleansing of our heart center as well as our mind, and a balancing of the mind and the heart, leading us toward more of a heart-mind coherence, where the mind and the heart are working together synergistically to assist us in creating and to assist us in aligning with that highest, most organic timeline for our ascension, which is what every year really, but especially 2024, this quantum leap year, has been all about. Now, as Mercury stations his energy, appearing to stand still in the sky, as he begins his retrograde motion and moves into connection with Venus, we're already experiencing these heart purifying and cleansing energies. And this will only continue to intensify as we move toward the 7th and then through the 888. Mercury is going to continue to move us through an integration of these energies all the way through the end of August. And his shadow period will actually last until 9/11, which interestingly enough, according to the Ethiopians, is Yeshua's birthday. And it is no mistake that this is completing the shadow period of Mercury's retrograde on 9/11, because we are truly integrating the Christ consciousness on a deeper level so that we can be more powerful beacons of that divine energy. As Mercury and Venus come together in Virgo, they're working us through a very powerful experience and a very powerful cleansing, as we said. It is very fascinating to note that at the time of their conjunction, they are going to be in a yod with Pluto and Neptune. And so a yod is a specific type of astrological aspect that occurs when we have two planets sextiling each other and two inconjuncts that create a narrow triangle. The focal point of that triangle or energy is the planet or planets that meet at the apex, which in this case are Venus and Mercury. The yod is also referred to as the finger of God. And I always kind of joke of it like the finger of God, because it is a point of fate in our charts. It is a point of destiny. And it is an energy where we may not fully recognize it at first. We feel it just as like an itching or a scratching or a yearning or an uncomfortability that we can't quite put our finger on. It's like we're being pushed or pulled in a direction and we don't know what that direction is, but we feel it very deeply and we can't ignore it. It's always scratching at the back of our consciousness. This is because this is something that we were destined to come here and fulfill. So there is a powerful energy with this yod being created, an energy that's generated here that is really asking us to fully embrace this experience of Mercury retrograde conjunct Venus in Virgo. With Pluto and Neptune here, planets that represent the soul's evolution and also the collective evolution of the universal soul and of all of those within this particular collectives that are growing and evolving. We can see that this is a powerful healing and clearing and point of destiny and fate, not only in our own lives, but for the collective as a whole. We're being asked and assisted in releasing any energies that relate to conditional love and any energies within ourselves that were created through the trauma of experiencing conditional love. Conditional love being when somebody says either through their words or through their actions and the ways that they react to you, I love you if, I love you when. So as a result of that, we shift and change in order to fit the mode or the model of the person that we believe we need to be in order to be worthy of that love, to receive that love. So this new moon and this conjunction that we're building up to on the 7th is asking us and inviting us to release those wounds surrounding that experience. And to do it by stepping into unconditional love for ourselves. This is releasing self-criticism, self-judgment, self-blame, releasing shame. Really, truly embracing ourselves, not for who we want to be, who we wish we could be or should be, but who we are in this exact moment, seeing and knowing that we are enough. And then with this beautiful Leo energy of the new moon, from that state of wholeness and worthiness, having the courage to express the beauty of who we are into the world. Leo energy is all about self-expression. It is about the heart as well, connecting. Leo loves to receive that love, right? And so we see even the Leo energy playing into this and us healing those wounds around not getting the validation that we required to feel loved, not getting the affirmation of that, and not getting the affirmation that who we were was enough. And we're going to notice anywhere in our lives where we still are operating under this type of relational energy with others. Who are the people in our lives that give us the best version of unconditional love that they are capable of? And is that version of love enough? And I say that they're capable of, and I say it like that because, like I said, very few of us are capable of completely unconditional love. All right, but some of us are doing our best. And you can feel that on a heart level. So we're releasing those relationships. We're seeing the toxicity of those relationships that are truly transactional in nature, where that person is not even attempting to love us unconditionally. Because when we seek to love another unconditionally, it involves a level of self-healing and ultimately self-love, right? It all flips around back on itself because in order to love another unconditionally, we have to learn how to love ourselves unconditionally too. So it's a beautiful process of healing. And we know the people that are engaged in this process and we know the people that aren't. And there is going to be a bigger wedge driven between us and those people, as well as any people who are simply not on the same timeline or the same frequency as us. We're going to see that divide getting bigger. And it's going to be more glaringly obvious who is aligned with us for our greatest good and who is not, as well as what actions and choices and perspectives of our own are aligned with our highest good. And we're being asked to choose over and over again in every opportunity, to choose with our hearts, to choose that which is for our highest and best good. So some people may see opportunities for those choices to be made coming up as we move through this energy. And with this yod here, and this powerful energy of fate and destiny, we also have the sun and the moon pleasantly aspecting the nodes of fate, adding to this destined and fated feeling and energy here. There is an understanding that the choices that we make surrounding all of these themes are aligning us very powerfully with our destiny if we are choosing from our hearts. This is all really strongly catapulting us into that new timeline and along the path of our Dharma. Our soul's blueprint is powerfully activating during this new moon. The Lionsgate energies themselves are powerfully activating. Now, we talked in the original Lionsgate video about the conjunction of Sirius and the sun and the power that that generates. So as we continue moving through this trajectory of energy here and we arrive at the 8-8, there is great significance to this date as well. I really kind of hammered away at the importance of the conjunction of the sun and Sirius in the first Lionsgate video, but there is more to the 8-8. The 8 representing the number of infinity, the infinity of creation, also representing the strands of our DNA and the way that those unlock and evolve, as in this process of ascension, we are evolving into a crystalline-based life form with our original 12 strands of DNA active. So it's a powerful DNA activation portal. It's a powerful Stargate because the number 8-8 also mirrors the number of recognized constellations in the night sky. In her book, Galactic History of the Multiverse, Rising Phoenix Aurora talks about 88 sets or trinities of pyramids modeled after the Great Pyramid and its supporting pyramids in Giza. And these 88 trinities of pyramids are meant to connect with the 88 constellations in the sky. The Great Pyramid and its supporting pyramids were constructed to align specifically with Orion's belt, each of the pyramids aligning or connecting to a specific star within that belt. And so when we hit this 8-8 portal, all 88 of those sets of pyramids connect with that energy and open up a Stargate within that as well. Orion, or the constellation of Orion, is known to be a Stargate in and of itself, meaning it is an access point along with the sun and probably a couple other points as well. But it's one of the main access points when people want to travel between universes. So Orion's belt is very significant, and the constellation of Orion, very significant. What I've learned so far about Orion is that Orion is perceived by some to be a negative collective of beings, but they are not. Not all of Orion is negatively polarized. What happened in Orion is very similar to what's happening here on Earth right now. The controlling energies turned dark, and they began using brainwashing, mind control techniques, and other types of control to essentially enslave the people, put them to sleep, like a waking slumber, is essentially how most people in this planet and many people there were for a long time. And so some may have heard of the Orion Wars and these wars for the independence and the reclaiming of the sovereignty. And the reason that Orion was targeted this way and all of this happened there was because of the power of that Stargate. So everything is mirrored throughout the cosmos, throughout this universe. So just as we are fighting for our freedom on this planet right now, So do other collectives within this galaxy. All right, but Orion is still a very powerful, beautiful collection of beings. And when we align with these energies, when these energies all come online, we are able to connect with the benevolence of that. And we are able to connect not just with this universe, but with the multiverse. And with all the universes that connect through Orion. So it's really, really powerful. Essentially, the Earth, which has always been a Stargate in and of itself, is fully activated during these Lionsgate portals. And our heart centers are activated as well, because our hearts, as we say on here all the time, are the portal to the fifth dimension. Right? Our heart is a Stargate, and it is through the opening of that Stargate that we truly ascend. Right? That's part of the process. And so this is a deepening of that experience, of that energy, an opening of that Stargate within our hearts that allows us to connect to the multidimensionality of ourselves and all of creation. And Spirit showed me that if we are struggling to find unconditional love for ourselves during this portal and during this conjunction of Venus and Mercury and everything that's occurring between really now when I'm filming this, because it's the first as I'm filming this video, between now and the 8/8, and then even beyond into September, as we talked about with the Mercury retrograde. Simply allow yourself to connect with the unconditional love of Divine Mother, Divine Father, Creator, Source, God, Creator, whatever you want to call it. Allow that unconditional love to wash over you and assist you in connecting with that unconditional love within yourself. And release, like we said, anyone and anything that shows you conditional love. Sometimes we have to act as if. Part of how I learned to love myself, and it's an ongoing journey, but it was by treating myself as though I did, even if I didn't feel it. And eventually, when I took enough actions that exemplified self-love, I began to develop that self-love and that self-respect. All right, so sometimes we have to act our way into being. We have another powerful alignment of planets coming into conjunction range during this new moon. Gemini and Mars, who will meet in the sign of Gemini on the 14th of August. Now, these conjunctions are most powerful. They're in a building phase as the planets are coming closer to each other. And then as they begin to drift apart, the energy begins to dissipate. So we can feel that buildup of energy here. The excitement. Mars conjunct Gemini, or conjunct Jupiter rather, in the sign of Gemini is very energizing. It's full of ideas. It's full of inspiration. It really wants to move. It wants to get going. It feels very big. This is a big, confident, larger than life type of an energy. We're being guided to take inspired action only and not to just act upon any whim that we have, because we may, there's an energy of being too big for your britches that can sometimes come with this conjunction. And we never want to minimize ourselves in terms of like what our dreams for our reality, right, for our lives, because those dreams were given to us by our soul and we were meant to bring them into fruition. And like we said, this new moon is all about bringing those energies into fruition and aligning ourselves with the version of ourselves that is doing that. Not that we'll do that, that is doing that. Aligning with that timeline where that self already exists, doing those things, living that incredible life, right? However, or should I say, and also, we want to temper ourselves. We want to check in with our heart. We want to make sure that the actions and the inspirations are in alignment and that we're taking all the proper steps to get there. And this is where we can call upon the linear functionality of Mercury, who is the ruler of Gemini. And we can call upon that Virgo energy that we have Mercury in. Mercury will actually be shifting into Leo on the 14th during this conjunction, I do believe. So the Virgo energy may not be fully helping us out there, but the Mercury retrograde energy in general is an energy that asks us to pull back, to slow down. So there's a lot going on during this portal, But we are in a slowdown with not only Mercury, but many other planets in retrograde right now as well. Chiron just went into retrograde at the beginning of the month in the sign of Aries. And that retrograde will go until the end of December, quite literally taking us through the rest of the year. We also have some of the outer planets in retrograde. So there is a slowdown. There's a buildup of energy and momentum, but it's almost like it's just increasing without releasing. And the release comes when we see the planets beginning to go direct. And we will have a surgence of that energy around 9/11 when Mercury comes out of shadow. And we have some other really cool stuff going on there. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a video on that for you guys soon. But we're in a building period. We're in a period of activation. And the activations that we're receiving through this portal, through this new moon, this 8/8 portal, that we have been beginning to receive since the beginning of July, they need time to integrate. So we may, even though we may be feeling really inspired, and that conjunction of Mars and Jupiter really has us raring to go, we're being asked to take time to consider, to write down all of our inspirations, all of our inspired ideas, to take care of our bodies, to allow, this is a period of allowing as the heart is opening and expanding. Leo is fixed fire, so we are stabilizing the spiritual fire within us. And then, of course, what comes after Leo season but Virgo season. And we can see some preambles to that now as well, as Mercury retrograde in Leo, besides taking us through the healing of our inner child, which is a powerful energy of Leo, is also taking us through a healing of our inner critic and asking us to look at how it is that we support our mental health, how it is that we support our physical health, as Virgo relates to both of these things. More the physical health piece to a lot of people, but it is ruled by Mercury, right? So I feel that the mental health piece strongly, it's opposing energy. Pisces is very tied to that as well. But it's looking at all these things. What is supporting me in my life? Not just in my outer world, like we talked about earlier, with the people I'm connected to, but with the way that I move through my life. What am I doing to support me? So it's like paying attention to all of that, letting it filter through, perhaps trying some different things, so that as we move into Virgo season, we have a clearer picture and we can begin really putting those things into practice. As we experience this conjunction of Mercury and Venus, we also have a square going on to Uranus in Taurus and Sedna in Gemini. This square is asking us to also look at where it is that we abandoned ourselves in the desire to please other people, in the desire to belong, to fit in. Once more, going to the ways that we shift and change ourselves to gain that love and acceptance. And Uranus conjunct Sedna is really calling us to stand in the truth of who we are, to love and embrace who we are, and to not be afraid to express that and live that. And it's a reminder that when we stand in the truth of who we are, we may lose some people, right? But those are the people that weren't meant for us in the first place. Those are the people we had to change ourselves for. The people that gave us the conditional love. When we release them, and all we have to do a lot of times to release them is just be who we are. Stop pretending. When we do that, we make space for people who are aligned with us to come in. And there's an old saying or analogy that talks about feeling alone even when you're surrounded by people, and how that is even lonelier than truly being alone, right? When we're surrounded by a bunch of people who don't get us, who don't understand us, we have to put on an act the entire time we're around them. That's exhausting, and it's very lonely. Wouldn't it be much better to be relaxing by yourself on your sofa with a nice cup of tea? So these are some of the choices that some people are going to have to make. And I talked about this. I'm going to link the video at the end of this one. It may not be up immediately because it's probably not going to be out for a few days after I release this video. So if it's not linked in the video yet, just keep a watch for it. And if you're not subscribed yet and you're enjoying the content, go ahead and do so right now so you don't miss that or any other videos. But I made a video about the ascension of humanity and describing that process. And in that video, we talk a bit about this period of initiation when we awaken spiritually. And it happens really on each level of our spiritual awakening, where we are alone, where we are isolated because everybody drops off who's not a vibrational match to us. And then we have to wait for the people that are to come in. But that period in and of itself is, like I said, an initiation, where we step into ourselves more deeply, where we become comfortable sitting with ourselves, comfortable in our own skin, where more, it's very much like the Hermit card in the tarot, where we gain a deeper level of connection to our soul, to our higher selves, to all of creation, by sort of getting rid of all the excess noise that's created when we have a bunch of other people's energy, thoughts, feelings, perceptions, vibrations bouncing around us. When we move through that initiation, that's when a lot of our soul tribe typically comes in. And for some people, the moving through of that energy and the climax of that initiation, so to speak, happens when we finally accept that we might be alone physically, but we're not alone on a spiritual level. We come to terms with that and we become fully comfortable with that. It's not going to always be that way for everybody. Everyone's journey is different. For some of us, it may also come down to realizing and recognizing belief systems in us around abandonment, around loneliness, what it means to be alone. This is the internal work, the shadow work that starts happening when we have nobody to distract us from ourselves. And so if you find yourself in that period right now, try not to distract yourself by jumping into a million different things, by overworking yourself. Just allow yourself to be. Just be with yourself. And allow what wants to come up to come up. Feel it, heal it. This energy is all about surrender. Surrendering to the flow of life, surrendering to our higher selves. Our higher selves are powerfully guiding us during this time. Those who are a vibrational match and who are ready may download more energy of their higher self. This is sort of like if you imagine that only a certain amount of your higher self or your soul's light is able to enter your body. Due to your vibration, the vibration on this planet, many different things. So as we continue to awaken and activate, more of that soul light is able to download within the vessel. And some people who have an important mission, not that any mission, any reason for being here isn't important, right? But who have certain missions may require that additional download of their soul's energy in order to do what they need to do. So some people may be experiencing that during this portal as well. And that all happens through the heart amplification, through the Stargate within the heart that is opened during this time. The bottom line to all of this is love yourself where you are at. Accept yourself where you are at. Make the choices that are most loving for yourself. And take as much time out as you possibly can. This was coming through in the email that I just wrote. I plan to write about the astrological aspects and everything in this new moon for my email list. But instead, there was just a channeled message from Spirit that wanted to come through. And in that message, one of the things that was said was, take as much time by yourself as you can. So for those who are going through that isolation period that I just spoke of, this will be easy. For others, you may have to carve out that time. Particularly in nature, if you can. We talked about the crystallization of the Earth's tree in the last Lionsgate video, and how we can access that beautiful crystalline energy through observing and communing with the trees as our own trees of life are crystallized. And I spoke in that video about how everybody has a tree. And it was funny when I said that part, when I rewatched it, I felt like Oprah or something, because I kept saying, you have a tree, the universe has a tree, the earth has a tree, we all have trees. But we do. And so our tree is crystallizing as the earth's tree crystallizes. So go out in nature, commune with her, center into your heart space as much as you can. Not through like extenuated effort, simply through being, simply through allowing. And just know that everything that we talk about in these videos is already happening organically. When we work with it consciously, we can experience it more powerfully, but it's already happening. There's nothing that we can do to, like, it's like, I think some people worry, oh my God, I have to do everything perfectly right in order to have this experience. And the more things you do that are alignment with your soul, the better. But we don't have to consciously direct this process. We just have to be present for whatever is naturally and organically coming up. And to attempt to embrace it with as much love, patience, and acceptance as we can. I love you infinitely. Thank you for being here with me. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Like I said, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. If you like the vibe, we would love for you to join the tribe. Also, if anybody is experiencing a lot of heaviness working through these energies, or simply just wants to take a greater look at them through any of the things that I do, and you're interested in working one-on-one with me, I do one-on-one coaching, I do astrology and tarot readings, I do all different types of energy healing that can help with the integration of these energies, as well as the releasing of everything that is not truly you. So all the information is in the description box below. I'll talk to you all very soon. Much love to you.